At exactly 7:20 a.m., a quiet suburban street was shattered by the sound of a frantic doorbell. A man stood there, drenched in blood, trembling and desperate. "Help me," he begged. The neighbor froze, unsure whether to open the door or call the police. What had happened inside that house would soon reveal one of the most chilling cases of domestic violence the city had ever seen. Just hours earlier, 32-year-old Maya Linton had been preparing for a normal workday. To those who knew her, Maya was everything a person could aspire to be: driven, compassionate, and endlessly kind. She worked as a paralegal in a well-known Houston law firm, determined to one day become an attorney. Her colleagues admired her dedication, her family adored her warmth. Her brother, Evan, would later say, "Maya was my best friend. The one person who always saw light, even in the darkest places." Maya's mother, Linda Linton, described her daughter as logical yet full of empathy. "She was the voice of reason," Linda said. "If you were lost, you called Maya." Outside her career, Maya's greatest joy came from her 4 dogs, companions she treated like her own children. Her sister Jenna once joked, "If you want to see Maya smile, just mention her dogs." Among them was a small dachshund named Pebble, her most beloved companion for nearly a decade. Maya lived with her husband, Aaron Linton, in a modest home on Willowmere Drive in the Oak Ridge neighborhood. From the outside, their marriage appeared ordinary: quiet weekends, neighborhood barbecues, evening walks with the dogs. But beneath that illusion of domestic peace, something much darker was unfolding. Those closest to Maya had started to notice subtle changes, her cheerful tone replaced by careful silence, her independence slowly fading. Linda would later admit she had sensed something was wrong. "She was suffering quietly," she said. "We all thought she could fix things, but we didn't know how bad it had become." Court documents later revealed that Aaron and Maya's relationship had been marked by years of emotional and physical abuse. None of it had ever been formally reported. Like so many victims, Maya believed things would get better, that the man she had once loved could change. According to prosecutors, Aaron's controlling behavior had escalated over time, turning their once happy home into a cage. In early March, Maya finally confided in her mother that she was planning to leave. She had found an apartment and was preparing to move out the following week. But when abusers sense they're losing control, that's often when they become the most dangerous. And Aaron knew she was leaving. That Wednesday morning began like any other. The sun was rising over Oak Ridge, birds chirping, sprinklers hissing softly across neatly kept lawns. But inside the Linton home, terror was brewing. Before dawn, Aaron quietly gathered Maya's dogs, the beings she loved most, and loaded them into his car. He drove them to a desolate stretch near the highway and abandoned them. Hours later, he returned home, waiting for Maya to wake up. When she realized her pets were gone, Maya panicked. She pleaded with him to tell her where they were. What followed was a brutal argument that escalated into unspeakable violence. Investigators would later discover that Aaron used a household iron, something as ordinary as it was deadly, to beat Maya repeatedly. The iron shattered under the force of the attack. The bedroom walls bore dents and holes, signs of a struggle that had lasted far too long. By the time the assault ended, Maya lay lifeless on the floor. At 7:20 a.m., Aaron stumbled out of the house, covered in blood, and rang a neighbor's doorbell. "Something terrible happened," he muttered. The neighbor, horrified by the sight, called 911. When police arrived, Aaron was standing in the doorway, his hands raised, his clothes soaked red. Officers restrained him and began searching the house. Inside, they found Maya's body in the bedroom, surrounded by broken furniture and fragments of the iron that had been used as a weapon. The crime scene was described by investigators as one of the most violent they had ever seen. What stood out most was the deliberate nature of Aaron's actions, the stolen dogs, the timing, the weapon. It wasn't a moment of blind rage, it was premeditated cruelty. In the days that followed, friends and strangers united to search for Maya's missing dogs. Social media posts spread rapidly, with volunteers combing parks and highways. Miraculously, 3 of the 4 were found alive. But Pebble, Maya's favorite, wasn't so lucky. She was discovered days later in a plastic bag near a roadside ditch. To her family, it felt like losing a part of Maya all over again. Aaron Linton was charged with murder. When his bond was initially set at $250,000, Maya's family was outraged. He took her life in cold blood, her brother said. He shouldn't be allowed to walk free for even a second. Their plea gained support from thousands who signed petitions demanding the court raise his bond. Eventually, a judge increased it to $500,000, still far less than prosecutors had hoped for. During his first court appearance, Aaron refused to leave his jail cell. Deputies had to forcibly escort him before the judge. His lawyer claimed he was in shock, struggling to comprehend what he'd done. But to Maya's family, there was no confusion, only fury and heartbreak. He knew exactly what he was doing, her mother said. He wanted control, and when he couldn't have it, he destroyed her. As the investigation continued, prosecutors detailed how Aaron's actions fit the grim pattern of domestic violence murders. Experts note that the most dangerous time for victims is when they try to leave. For Maya, the moment she reached for freedom became the moment she was killed. Her story highlights a national crisis, one that hides behind closed doors in ordinary neighborhoods. The National Domestic Violence Hotline reports that millions endure abuse every year, yet only a fraction ever report it. Fear, shame, and hope for change keep many victims silent. Maya's kindness, the same quality that made her beloved, had also made her vulnerable to manipulation. She always believed people could be better, even when they proved they couldn't. In the months following her death, the community rallied around the Linton family. Vigils were held in parks where Maya used to walk her dogs. Photos of her smiling with Pebble were placed beside candles and flowers. Her coworkers started a scholarship fund in her name, dedicated to helping women studying law, the dream Maya never got to fulfill. Her mother said softly during one vigil, she wanted justice for others. Now we seek it for her. Today, Aaron Linton remains behind bars awaiting trial, charged with first-degree murder. Prosecutors continue to push for a life sentence without parole, citing the brutality of his crime. For Maya's family, every court date is another wound reopened, but they attend each one, not for closure, but for her. Maya's story is not just about tragedy. It's a warning, a reminder that abuse can hide behind smiles, behind neat houses, behind the words everything's fine. It's about the unseen battles fought by countless victims who never make the news. And it's a plea, if you or someone you know is in danger, reach out. Tell someone. Because sometimes, the most ordinary homes conceal the darkest secrets. Maya Linton's life was defined by her courage, compassion, and strength. Her death, though cruel and senseless, has sparked awareness and change within her community. Her family continues to speak out, determined that her story will save others from the same fate. Justice was what she devoted her life to, and now, it's what her loved ones fight for in her memory.